Hey everybody, this is Rydo, and we're back to Flight of the Amazon Queen. This is possibly the last episode. You need to find, amongst this inventory that we already have a ton of, we need to find another piece of rock, I believe, to match with this bit of stone. It is a little surprising that we're over 10 hours into this game, and I really just have not remembered much of this game at all. Like, I almost certainly did play this all the way to the end originally, many years ago, but yeah, it has all slipped my mind, so effectively I've just played this game like it was brand new, which, yeah, that made for a much longer experience than what I was really expecting. I was more expecting to kind of breeze through the entirety of all of this. I'm assuming we find the rock on a dead body.
I can't move it.
So now I just have to figure out how to get to where I want to go, and this is quite the maze. This final section is. It's unnecessary. Like, at a certain point, if you were going to give me a maze experience, I would only really appreciate maze experiences if they were kind of a top-down perspective, fairly easy maze. Yeah, nobody's tried to make something like a labyrinth.
What on earth was that?
So I guess that's our hint as to we went the right direction. So Ian has been pulverized.
Way over there.
There was this laser trap, and now we can't reach this, nor can we reach this direction, so I guess it doesn't matter. Okay. I guess the question is going to come down to how do we reach that location. You would think it would only be a couple of scenes away, but honestly, I do suspect it is like much further away than that. Let's see, what's this direction? I literally just walked out of this path, and I can't remember what was here. Yeah. Yeah, I suppose you could make a game that was just a pure labyrinth, or heavily relied on a labyrinth. I just don't think that would probably be very appealing to most people, because it would be a lot of wandering around confused for not really good reason. Does it make any sense that we're going up to go down? Like, it's just a giant circular ring of areas. Oh, seriously, come on. I can't even get out of one part of the maze here. Yeah. Obviously there should be some shortcuts that opened up. Like right here would make a lot of sense if you could open up a shortcut there. Although that may simply create a situation where it's very easy to get away from where you're supposed to be. And yeah, you would expect the game to give you a map if it was going to be this complicated. Yeah, we are having to just walk all the way through here. We're doing absolutely nothing. We're just walking for 5 minutes plus. It definitely makes an argument that this might be a game, particularly at this point at the end, where you would really benefit from just using a walkthrough step by step. See, and the shortcut down to this place would be helpful because I think that is where we want to be. And since this is such a early PC game, you're not getting an amazing experience with the audio. The visuals are alright. They're very low resolution. I have to remind myself, and I should remind the audience certainly too, that the graphics only look this good because of the ScumVM high quality upscaler. Left to its own devices, we would be looking at a very small low-res image that would have been a little bit more pixely. It's just a ton of stuff that went on. 5 or 6 puzzles, all overlapping quite a bit. I don't think that this layout makes any sense either.
An arrogant crusted scum, but he didn't deserve to end up like this.
So we look at his body.
Lying cheat. He didn't have the crystal skull at all. The only thing I found was a strange piece of rock. Everything else was flattened.
So we need to use this rock that looks like an elephant with the other rock that looks like a dinosaur, or half a dinosaur.
I need something to stick them together.
Okay. Think we could potentially use the knife on the sticky batch to get the tree sap. I may have had some tree sap already. Then we put the tree sap on that. Then we stick this with this. And so now we have yet another new icon, I imagine, amongst these massive amount of items. Yeah, merged together, it looks like a complete statue. Which is great. What would be really great, though, is if there was a ladder on this wall.
I can't see any way over there.
And that I could climb down here and take a shortcut instead of having to use this lever to get back up here, which isn't much of a shortcut.
Whoa! What a trip!
To then walk here and then do maybe about 5 more minutes of walking with just no interactions. Modern games may have put like random interactions in between each scene. Like if you had randomly spawning enemies like in an RPG game, that would be a way to hide how much walking is going on, but it would also make the game just longer and not really be in the vein of a point and click adventure. But yeah. A fast travel system, a map, many quality of life improvements could have been added to a game like this. And I think if you were going to remake this game, you probably would want to start over from scratch, because this this last act here is just way too grindy, way too much walking. You'd want to rethink everything, probably change the puzzles up a little bit. But I don't know why you'd really remake this game anyways, because on one hand this game is either a clone of Fate of Atlantis or Kingdom of the Crystal Skull or the Last Crusade game. Let's see. I'm gonna take a moment here and search. I should have done this off screen, but I'm going to type in Flight of the Amazon Queen. It was re-released as freeware in 2004. That's not when it was originally made. Come on. It was made for the Amiga. It was originally released in 1995. It was re-released as freeware in 2004. In January of 2022, a sequel was announced, Return of the Amazon Queen. Interesting. I haven't heard anything about that. So, the time we're looking for here is 1995. When did Fate of Atlantis come out? Is the question. 1992. And Fate of Atlantis, by far, has a lot more polish, but also it has LucasArts behind it. Certainly. Also, so no big surprise there. I guess the question might be, when did Kingdom of the Crystal Skull come out? Sorry, I'm not playing here. I should have done all this research first. 2008. So, it seems to me like Indiana Jones and Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, the movie, stole some concepts from this game, which was definitely parodying and stealing some ideas from Fate of Atlantis. So it's just went full circle. So I assume I'm going to put the stone key here. It's going to give me an elevator, and I'm going to get the Crystal Skull.
Uh-oh, I think it's gonna explode.
He's walking automatically.
This is case below.
So no elevator going up, instead of stairs going down. And this definitely feels very much like Fate of Atlantis. Is there anything we can even interact with? I do have to say though, I think this game has failed pretty poorly at actually being a parody that's funny to Fate of Atlantis or Indiana Jones. Like, there's a couple of goofy ideas, certainly, but you're just not getting a comedic bit and anywhere often enough to even really call it a comedy game. If anything, it's kind of just like a slightly raunchy adventure game with a little bit of comedy in it, where Monkey Island does a much better job about being comedic, both in its dialogue and its puzzles. And in all fairness, even playing Monkey Island a second time, a lot of the jokes feel flat and they feel a little dated. So there's literally nothing in this room. It's just another wasteful, nicely animated path to make you walk through. Maybe something will happen there later. Okay. So it seems to me like the trick here is we're going to feed things to the Dino Rat, which the whole concept of the dinosaurs really has not played a role at all. If anything, it would have probably been better if the Dino Ray happened somewhere throughout the game, halfway through the game, or half of the characters you ran into were dinosaurs when you first met them, and they'd still just talk to you.
I'm not feeling that hungry.
So yeah, this seems like obvious, so we're just gonna feed this guy and he's gonna tell us the direction to go.
Fella, I've got it for you.
And solve the maze for us. Thus, the cutscene at the beginning when we first saw him, which was probably 2 or 3 hours ago, where he solved the maze. Although we're feeding him cheese and he was trained to actually go to the center of the maze to seek out cheese, so I don't know if he really would have any motivation to go to the center of the maze. I assume that these are repeating panels, kind of randomized, that there's like 4 or 5 of them, and if you go the wrong way, you'll just reset. This definitely is the kind of story and game that really would have benefited for the Nazi scientist to just go on a monologue early in the game for like 10 minutes, explaining every detail of his master plan, so that we knew what we were trying to avoid. Because he really hasn't even explained now that he seemingly wants the crystal skull, I guess for a power source, I'm just guessing, to then use his Dino Ray on everybody in the jungle and turn them all into dinosaurs, and then use his aggression ray on the dinosaurs too after that to make them aggressive dinosaurs instead of just docile dinosaurs. So this looks like a big throne.
It looks loose. It looks loose.
Alright, well, let's move that, and then move that. Now we have some kind of weird
Looks like
machine.
activated something. Phew, that sure is big.
Well, we could walk through the door and potentially get lost again. Or
There's something strangely familiar.
we could sit in the chair.
Markings. Wait a second. The writing in the dictionary matches. Let's see if I can translate.
This is the first time he's translated anything.
In wanting to needy escape. Be sure of depress exit panels on order that is right. To make exit simply assume launch position over deployed module. That sounds simple enough.
So, is this whole place a spaceship of some sort?
This must be the deployed module that the wall markings referred to.
So I guess we're just supposed to use the chair. I don't think I'm gonna die, so... Now the irony here is that the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull Indiana Jones movie was so bad that I still think, without properly watching it again, which I'm not willing to do, this game may actually be better.
I've come all this way. I'm not gonna leave without that skull.
Okay. So we need the skull. We don't have the skull. So let's walk to the store and see what's back here. Okay. So we've got another Indiana Jones reference here. Is there something we can use? Yeah, the vacuum cleaner would make a lot of sense. Use vacuum cleaner on mosaic. Meanwhile, back at the crash site. It's funny there isn't a narrator.
Wonder if Joe was okay. I hope he hasn't fallen foul of horrible death trap.
I guess that was supposed to be a reoccurring gag.
Better.
Let's look at the carved wall markings. Walking on these don't seem to mean anything.
Right behind the marking is loose.
Okay. What can we learn from this? Like, looking at this wall marking and this row, we see that there's 4 by 4 grids, so 16 here, where there is 5 by 5, which is 25, which means there's one odd out. But if you compare these 4 symbols to over here, they don't really line up on anything. This one, let's see, how many different things are there to point? This one, this mosaic lines up with this.
The pattern have changed.
Okay. So maybe you only have one chance at it. And maybe you're interacting with the mosaics themselves. So we're looking for this symbol now, which is here. Let's see what happens when we move that mosaic.
I can't move it.
Use mosaic. Open mosaic.
It doesn't seem to open.
You kind of expect there to be more instruction, and you kind of expect there to either be a wall here or something. I mean, there's just a door. Let's just walk to the door.
It's locked.
So the door's locked, and then there's only this door over here. Color me confused. Like, on this line here is just a symbol. So if that was the first one to press, then the question would become, are these symbols outside of this one anywhere on the map at all? See, this is like a 1 and an E, and this is like a 3 and a 1. We just don't have an item that I think makes sense, unless we're just gonna pickaxe a mosaic.
Not a good idea. I might do some unnecessary damage.
Okay. So let's just ask this question. Does this item show up anywhere here in any way? This I and this C. I'd say no. So that's obviously not one of them. Does this F and the little J show up anywhere? I would say no. So it does seem to me to push this marking
Back to where I started.
Maybe we're supposed to start over on this side. Is there a symbol here on this side? Yeah.
The pattern changed.
Now I don't know if this isn't really just swapping between two patterns, really. No, it's not. It's more random than that. So let's then say, let's push the buttons of symbols that we don't see on the table, on the mosaic at all. We have a backwards C and a C. We do have that. We have a sideways I and E. We do have that. We have a corner and a line. Let's see. We have that. Do we have two dots and then an upside down F? We do have that. So all of those symbols are correct in that row. So there may very well just be only one symbol that's there, that's there, that's there. Yeah. I bet there's literally only one symbol that isn't here. That's there. Looking for an NI. Got it. Looking for a line in a circle. Got it. 31 seems like it gets rotated. I mean, you've got one here. You've got one here. Does seem like it's rotated. So we may need to go back to that. We need 3 of those. That's there. That's there. Long line dash short line in a square. Long line dash short line. L with a dash in the middle and a corner. That is there. Then dash short line, dash in a square. That's there. This lines up with this. So this is the one that's wrong. Every other symbol is on this. So let's hope that's right and push this.
Close, but no cigar. Now I'm back to where I started.
I don't get the trick there. Then these mosaics here are not changing. So maybe I have to push multiple solutions out. These symbols aren't changing, but there are 25 of them, so there could be new matches. So let's try that again. And the game really just does not want to be helpful. I'll give you a hint. I think the orientation does imply that it should be exactly correct with what we're seeing looking from this angle. Where's LH? Here it is. 2 dots and upside down F. I've already seen it. NI. I think we've already seen 3 lines and then 2 vertical lines is there. A almost swastika symbol or tree. We'll call it a tree. That one. That one. And that one. So which one am I missing? And they put a crack of light here on the door to make you see that that's a door, but
it's locked.
Clearly that needs to be you'd think you get like a hint or something. Yeah, the door needs to be better animated. Use death mask on mosaic.
It looks better on dead things.
Yeah, we really don't have an item where it would make a lot of sense to leave it on top of the mosaics. And the torch isn't really going to light this area.
Pyromaniac?
This symbol. Is this symbol something that we actually have? I don't think it is. Move that one.
The pattern has changed.
Okay. So then let's hit the 31 again, because patterns haven't changed down here and there is no 31. We know that. So you had to do it correct twice.
Even myself.
Which, yeah, there's nothing indicating that you had to do it correct twice. That wouldn't be the most interesting way to end up with the crystal skull. But fine if it is.
Huh?
You can see the Guardian showing up again, looking like Indiana Jones for a second there.
I'm impressed.
Look, I'm really happy for you. But where's the skull?
It is within your grasp. But first, you must give me the key.
Key? What key?
The key to your lineage. You are the successor to the royal house of Al-Maxaquatl. Are you not?
It'd be funny if it turns out you are.
Of course. I'm Joe Al-Maxaquatl, Prince Bahia.
Very good. Give me your key and the skull will be yours.
Well, I assume then all we have to do is just hand over the crown.
I've got the key to my lineage right here.
Yes. And what might that key be?
It's the crown that's been in my family for hundreds of years.
The royal Al-Maxaquatl headpiece.
That's the one. Here. Oops. Sorry about that.
Do not worry. You have proven that you are the heir. You are worthy to take the skull.
Thanks.
So we have a floating skull with mirrored walls, I guess. Or 3 skulls.
I trust you know what you were doing. Now I must leave.
Okay. Let's just try something simple, like looking at the crystal skull.
This is exactly what I've been looking for.
Of course, even looking in a crystal skull, if the Indiana Jones movie is to be believed, might
I found it.
Drive you crazy.
I'm doing the right thing. Hey, the power's gone off.
So yeah, it does look like it is.
Exactly what I
The crystal skull is a power source. They have glowing eyes, and it looks more human-shaped than alien, even though we have seen some alien elements here. It's a sad statement to have to say, but I'm not sure Steven Spielberg has had an original idea or done anything very creative in decades. I think he may just be... He was basically semi-retired, I think, and now when he tried to get back in the game with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, he just didn't have it. There is also a decent chance that he just doesn't know how to make movies with modern technology and modern methods, or even modern actors. Of course, that's all just speculation. Could have been that his involvement didn't affect Kingdom of the Crystal Skull's quality much at all.
Well, here goes nothing.
Or he was the positive influence and there was just a bunch of other negative influences.
It looks like Mr. King has found his way out.
They've actively put them in outfits that are not Nazi-like, not SSS Black Letter, like the Secret Services, or not green military Nazi uniforms.
I don't think so. I'd like to come with me.
What's I think a mistake though is that they're not wearing like Lederhosen style armor. That would have been funnier, that they were actually using the Lederhosen cover to make armor for their military men.
Let me out of here. I can't do that.
Bulletproof Lederhosen. This is possibly our first zoomed in. This is the first like male bad guy character that's been zoomed in. So the Crystal Skull was shielding the valley. The valley had a bunch of dinosaurs already in it. So he's dinosaur array, maybe not necessary and just a coincidence. But here's the big question.
Why on earth do you need more dinosaurs?
The answer is quite simple, Mr. King. Do you know what DNA is?
Here's a funny joke. I wouldn't have thought most people even knew what dyslexics were back in 1995 or whenever this game came out. I just looked it up. The National Dyslexics Association. Would it be a savings and loans company? Is it a hip new dance? Or a deoxyribonucleic acid that's found in the chromosomes? Let's go with some of the joke answers.
Is the National Dyslexic Association.
Not what? It's deoxyribonucleic acid. It contains things that make up all living organisms. And you change life cells.
You're out of dinosaur cells and you want more. Whatever you're doing is unethical. You're not mixing dinosaur DNA with human DNA.
You're not mixing dinosaur DNA and human DNA. Yeah. I'm afraid so.
Mr. King. I have an army of dinosaur soldiers like man.
I'll do whatever I can to stop you once I get out of here.
How? No. Maybe you should try banging your head against the bar. Or use your knife to dig the way out.
Wonder if he's giving us a hint there.
You're undoing.
I'll love they talk, but I have also the dinosaur plunder. Perhaps we'll continue our conversation when I return. Farewell, King.
I feel like this Nazi scientist here probably should be obsessed with dinosaurs. Which, yeah, even in 1995, there definitely were people, kids, who never grew up, mentally limited adults who never really mentally grew up, who would have been obsessed with dinosaurs. It would make a lot more sense, this plot, if he's just always talking about dinosaurs, if there was a bunch of dinosaur posters in his office, if that's the reason why he's going through such a contrived plot. In modern times, you might even go as far as to make the gag that he is a dinosaur furry, as it were, and he has like a dinosaur suit that he's wearing half the time, and he's trying to turn all humans into dinosaurs just for his own obsession. They took literally nothing away from us. Let's see what happens if we use this. Nothing.
It's locked. It's locked.
There's a mug. Let's look at the mug.
It's a chip enamel mug.
So let's go ahead and pick up the mug.
It's a chip enamel mug.
Use the mug on prison door. That's the old gag. Annoy the guards.
Joe, we finally found you.
Yeah, I figured I'd get saved by one of the
Hi
ladies.
there, big boy.
They?
Hello, Joe. Bet you didn't expect to see me, yeah?
So, Faye and Anderson potentially become your rival partners in a sequel.
Help us.
Yeah, Joe.
Get a grip. Why would he want to help us?
Because the doctor is insane. He must be stopped at all costs.
No kidding. You're a regular genius. You know that?
Well, at least I'm smart enough not to be behind bars.
See, he's doing this weird, like, half Arnold Schwarzenegger, half Sean Connery voice.
Wait, you're bickering too.
He started it.
Look.
We have to find a way to get this door open.
It'd be interesting if you played as Anderson for a while, or played as Faye.
Good thinking, Hans.
Hans? Your name is Hans?
It was my father's name.
We don't have time for idle chit-chat. We have work to do.
It's a little too much dialogue.
Let's have a look. Hey, there's some kind of gun in here. Biffy.
Be careful, Faye. That crazy Dr. Einstein has deadly toys.
Well, this looks pretty deadly. Maybe I can blow the lock off the door.
Okay. Let's give it a go.
I don't know. That's a good idea.
It would be funny to have a character where the voice actor is intentionally doing different accents every time he does a line of dialogue to reveal that he's just a fraud and pretends to be a foreigner when he really isn't. Frizzle their hair.
Leave it. It dissolves the entire door.
Just as well. This thing has burnt out.
Well, Faye, we've got to get a move on.
Why the hurry?
Notice how they played a unique bit of music there, and then very quickly just went back to the standard music. There's a lot of polish that could have been added there. Like, particularly since you know Fate of Atlantis came out before this.
Good luck, Joe.
There's nothing technical that would have stopped this game from being
good luck.
a lot more polished and of a higher quality. It's just going to be finance and skill.
My day. Now
I imagine
have to find way into the
considerably fewer people worked on this game than LucasArts did on Fate of Atlantis. Plus, they wouldn't have had the makers of Flight of the Amazon Queen wouldn't have had the budget. Are we doing anything with the skull? Use death mask on skull.
It looks better on dead things.
So, a lot of places you can go, a lot of places you can walk, but I'm just kind of assuming that you don't have to do anything here. And we're just trying to get the elevator out and then get back to Trader Joe's to get the alcohol. That's obviously to get the jetpack. Here we have only slightly different music when we get into this area. The dog's not playing really a role after we gave him the squeaky toy, which is fine. Might have been nice if there were multiple solutions for some of the puzzles, but that does take a lot more work and potentially confuse the player. We do have ID now.
Excuse me. I'd like to buy
So we can buy the alcohol.
Sure thing, son. May I see your ID, please?
My ID?
Yeah, ID. You have ID, don't you, son?
Yeah, sure. I've got it right here. See?
So the ID we're showing here
You're
is
born 13th July 1920.
is someone else's.
That's right.
How old are you then?
How old am I? I'm 26.
Okay. This card doesn't have your name on it.
Of course it doesn't. I've just my name, King. And I haven't my new ID card through yet.
Yeah, right. Okay. You can have the alcohol.
Gee, thanks a lot.
Remember, drinking doesn't make you big or clever. And never drive an automobile under the influence.
Thanks for the public service and all, but I am an adult.
Right.
This thing looks like a rocket jetpack. And according to those blueprints, it takes a gallon of gas. I'll try that much.
So now
I need to find a higher launch from.
we can launch. Is that the only thing we need to do, though? Like, I wasn't quite paying enough attention, I think. I guess that is what we do, because we are definitely at a different point now on the pinnacle and can use the rocket pack.
Well, here goes nothing.
So is this going to take us to the Zeppelin? Maybe. Maybe we'll crash and then we'll have to rebuild the rocket pack a second time. Later in the Valley of Mists. We've got some real dinosaurs here, which that definitely feels like that's an influence from Jurassic Park. Nicely animated dinosaur here.
My head hurts.
I'm so glad you could drop in, Joe. I knew they'd make it.
Say, what are you doing here?
I hitched a ride with Anderson in the airship.
My God. That's a dinosaur. It's a living, breathing dinosaur.
That's right, King. Welcome to the Valley of the Mist.
That's a Jurassic Park reference, obviously. Welcome to Jurassic Park.
He has no idea that you're here, so you have the advantage of surprise.
Great. Maybe I scare him to death.
You'll think of something. I told Frank that I needed powder my nose, so I better get back.
Powder your nose?
Come on, follow me.
If I get out of this alive, I'm taking a long vacation.
Of course, these are feathered dinosaur discoveries.
It looks nice.
But I think most people probably still prefer the reptile skin interpretation of what we thought dinosaurs probably would look like.
No thanks. I'm a wild-eyed
back
loner
then
with
versus
oblivion.
what we think dinosaurs would have looked like now.
I don't think I need that. I'm no paleontologist, but going by the large crest on top of his head and the position of his nasal passages, I'd say that it's probably a Parasaurolophus. It looks nice. Whoa, looks like the rocket pack is fully waterlogged.
So am I supposed to try and fish out with a net this rocket, or do we have to build a new rocket? I think we probably have to build a new rocket. It's also weird that we have this like Tyranno hole.
To get the dinosaurs around here a heart attack. I ain't in the mood fishing.
So it looks like you just can't even do anything here.
Faye? Where are you, Faye? Oh, great. Now I've lost Faye.
Clearly the makers of this game were very inspired by some very popular movies of the era, which makes sense. But it might have been nicer, frankly, if there had just been a Jurassic Park or parody of Jurassic Park full point-and-click adventure game, instead of just one section at the end here.
Only the brontosaurus, and it's blocking my way. I don't want to get the dinosaurs around here a heart attack.
Okay. So this guy is eating something. It seems like you can walk to a clearing, and you kind of have a more top-down version of this.
It's a bit too strong for me to break.
Okay. Probably not supposed to burn it.
I'm a pilot pyromaniac.
That is a problem with a lot of point-and-click adventures, is once you give a player a tool, they're going to try and use it on every item. And it's pretty dull if you don't have a funny response. Okay. Seems to me that there's a path all the way on this side. So I assume that's all the same path. And give the branches to the large dinosaur.
Here you go, girl.
Here we have a zoomed in cutscene for a few frames.
Occupied?
Of course, the problem now is we can't go back if we needed to. I doubt we're supposed to stab the dinosaur in the neck or anything like that. Just walk behind him.
Wow.
It really is just so crazy to introduce dinosaurs at this point without foreshadowing it. It would have made a lot of sense if Joe King had seen dinosaurs throughout the entirety of the game and nobody believed him, or if the Amazonians statues had a bunch of dinosaurs statues.
I'm about to find out.
In a lot of ways, this feels like the Savage Lands of the Marvel universe, I guess, as X-Men.
That's one looking dinosaur.
So many items.
I hope this guy is scared of Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Little gory watching them eat the flesh off of a corpse.
That's taking care of him.
Do I need any of this flesh off the carcass?
Gross. I don't think they need that.
Yeah, I'm just gonna walk by it and assume I don't need it. And we're running into a lot of scenes again. Although this may be more of a linear experience in which we just go from the beginning point to the end point and never walk backwards.
Hold it right there, Einstein. How you get here? That's not important. What is important is that I put a sinister plan.
So this feels like this is the end of the game, potentially. Some kind of like robotic
ray gun.
robot to the right of Faye.
Threaten me all you want. I won't be a party to evil deeds. Perhaps I sway you threatening lovely princess. Okay. I'll do whatever you ask. Just don't hurt her.
Come here, kid. I have seen things.
It seems to me like having both Faye and Princess Azura is one too many damsels in distress. It probably would have been better to try to merge those characters into one.
Go in. Now what?
I'd also say it's probably not necessary to have two goons standing to the right.
I don't get it. What is this thing?
This is going to be a lot of text, I think.
With leading my army behind the sword of people, I shall be invincible.
I wish they toned down the music a little bit more. Or just stop the music while he's yelling.
Hey, that's me. Oh, well, that's Kinski. I must destroy you.
So he gets turned into a dinosaur.
Thanks for saving my life.
And the other goons just disappear.
Good Lord, what happened?
Is that Dad?
It may be that we now have powers equal to mine. I must stop him.
So now we're getting into basically a kaiju giant robot battle reference.
You gotta do something, Joe.
Hurry, before they kill each other.
Okay. So let's pick up the dino ray gun. And let's look at it. This is, I guess, our final puzzle.
Dino ray gun can turn people into dinosaurs and back again.
Okay. Let's talk to Faye. I think she needs to turn her mirror around. Let's see.
Where's Anderson?
Anderson's totally disappeared.
Waiting up in the Zeppelin. He's too far away for us to signal him for help.
Maybe we should get away while we still can.
We can't do that. If Ironstein manages to destroy the robot, then he'll be free to carry out his insane plan.
But what can we do?
If only Hans were here, he'd think of something. I guess we'll just have to settle whatever you can come up with.
This is interesting to have this much animation going on in a point-and-click adventure. Alright, so I think you're just supposed to use the ray gun on Monster Frank, and then it's gonna get reflected, I think.
Here goes nothing.
So he bounces it.
He
turns her into a dinosaur.
Night, Joe.
Sorry, Faye.
So now we'll ask her to turn her mirror around.
I'd like you to turn your mirror around.
What on earth for?
So that when Frank deflects the ray, bounce off your mirror.
Oh, I get it. Then I won't get into a dinosaur. Okay, I'll give it a try.
Thanks, Faye.
I guess at a certain point, if you were going for more of the raunchy thing, a blonde, a brunette, a redhead, a black-haired lady, like, would make sense if you're just going by hair colors. But yeah, Faye doesn't show up enough in the story, and she kind of has a fairly big change in personality from being mad at him at the beginning to being happy to see him when she shows up many hours later in the game. Princess Azure is just down the party the second she meets Joe and kisses him as soon as she is free from the jail cell. So yeah, you probably could have just merged those two ideas. And her being an Amazonian queen doesn't seem like it's really playing any part in the story. The Amazonians themselves not really playing that big of a part in the story. You could have combined the idea of the Amazonians and the Pygmies together, and then simplified the story. Naomi, I guess, is the black-haired lady of interest, but she's not really a love interest or even a secondary character. Let's go ahead and use this dino ray. There's a lot of variety in the animation here. It seems like it's randomly picking between 3 or 4 attacks.
Again.
That didn't do much good. Sparky sure does make a cute dinosaur.
Yeah.
Sparky,
but he's not
as a character, really doesn't play any role in the game. So I assume I'm supposed to give this death mask to Sparky to reflect that.
I got an idea how to stop getting stabbed by the dino ray. What's your idea? Do you want me to move? No. Put this mask on. Okay. Its shiny surface should deflect the beam. So just tight a little, buddy. Okay? How was that? Oh, sorry, Sparky. You should have gone.
So it's back to the gun. We've used all these items at least once. But clearly some of these items could have just disappeared from the inventory.
Not again.
Try it again.
Hasta la vista, Frank.
You did it! You destroyed the Einstein!
I couldn't have done it without you guys helping me. I think it's best you leave this place. Is there any way you can restore the Valley Shields? That's not such a bad idea. It might just keep out crazy like Frank. I want you to do it.
But what about the dinosaurs? We could make a lot of money out of them.
Some things left half, Faye.
Is it over? Did I miss anything?
I'll tell you all.
I guess if you were going to have a sidekick character like Sparky, you probably would want him to follow you around through most of the game. And it might be interest to make him a love interest of one of the females.
The world is a much safer place.
Hands looks really different zoomed in. Joe looks pretty much the same.
The shield has been restored.
The Valley is the game, but for how long?
Don't worry, Joe. The Amazon jungle has been untouched for thousands of years. I'm sure it will remain untouched for thousands more.
Well, Princess, I ought to be getting you home.
But Joe, I want to stay with you.
Yeah, that is a very rushed romance, but whatever. So here we're going to get to see how many people actually worked on this game. 2 scriptwriters, 2 programmers, 1 graphics animators. Some of these names are being repeated also. So yeah, seems like the Stamatidis last name is appearing a lot. And the voice actors doing many characters each. We can see the blimp flying off into the sunset. Yeah, we never even got the gimmick where Faye looked like the Amazonian princess and got kidnapped on accident. Almost certainly that would have made some sense too. There's definitely some weirdness in the story as far as how it's jumping around between turning Amazonians into dinosaurs, going to Dinosaur Island to get dinosaurs. Ancient aliens are lightly touched on. The Crystal Skull is lightly touched on. They don't really do a lot with that. It still does, I think, work better as a narrative than it's kind of, I think these are jokes. I don't think there really was a Commander Rocket comic. But yeah, there's definitely room for a potential remake on this general concept. Average Joe flies a celebrity to the jungle, then gets tied up in a crazy plot and has to save the celebrity, and then the rest of the story happens somewhat similar to this. Yeah. Compare putting the shields back up with the Crystal Skull after a big fight to the last few minutes of Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull, where the Crystal Skull makes some kind of weird interdimensional black hole and and destroys or I think it destroys an entire like Mayan style temple, South American style temple. Although in all fairness, while the last big action sequence in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull was pretty bad, it's not like the rest of the movie is great. Most people check out, if not at the halfway point, in the first 5 minutes, in which Indiana Jones survives a nuclear blast from a nuclear bomb by hiding in a refrigerator. I don't know why we have this much animation after the credits are done. It's almost as if they planned on a lot more credits to finally get to this point, or maybe they were planning on just letting the audio play out, but it doesn't really seem like it ever finishes. And then it just hard exits back to the ScumVM launcher, which, okay, that's fine. So yeah, that's Flight of the Amazon Queen. Again, a lesser point and click adventure game by far compared to like Indiana Jones and Fate of Atlantis. And that's ScumVM's version 2.7.0. So we had the global options all set with high quality scaling, fit to window, 3x, full screen mode with a shader of 4x scale HQ. By my own decision, I probably would have tried to speed up the subtitle speed. Most ScumVM games, if I had sped that up, it would have had the text on screen play faster, obviously, but it might have actually sped up the speaking, although I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't. Might be worth it to even try using MIDI or Roland in that case. Yeah. The biggest disappointment on Flight of the Amazon Queen, which this isn't a huge disappointment of a game. It's an average game for its time, and you probably don't want to get into the weeds of playing every point and click adventure game, because there will be a lot of less than average quality point and clicks that will just be very frustrating. This game didn't feel particularly too frustrating as far as trying to figure out the solutions to puzzles. They all seemed to come pretty easily. It was somewhat frustrating in walking around a lot of empty rooms that had only one item to interact with at most, and usually there was still a ton of hallways that had nothing to interact with. It would have been nicer if there were less hallways and more puzzles. It would be nicer, certainly, if it was just polished and less scattered in its themes. And certainly with one of those themes, you have this like raunchiness thrown in at the beginning of the game that sets a tone, and that tone is really forgotten about by the time you get to the Temple Island. So I don't really get the idea of the plastic fake boobs and the cross-dressing gag at the very beginning of the game, showing nipples on the plastic fake boobs, when that's really just kind of false advertising for what the rest of the game is. You do see the showering lady at the Amazonian place, and you talk to her, and your conversation with her leads to absolutely nothing. So she's just a character that obviously they were thinking they might cut out at some point just to avoid any controversy. Although, yeah, this would have been basically before PC games were rated by any ESRB rating board or anything like that, I'm sure, so they could do whatever they want. But yeah, it just overall sets the wrong tone. Whereas if you were thinking of a Leisure Suit Larry game, that sets a tone in that throughout the entirety of Leisure Suit Larry games, you tend to have that raunchiness that tends to be a major focus, even though you actually tend not to see that much nudity or even dirty talk by modern standards in Leisure Suit Larry games. Maybe the newest ones are a little bit dirtier. So by setting that wrong tone, then it puts you in this weird position where you don't really know where the game is going to go, when actually the game has much more of a childlike mentality than you would think, with the whole Rocket comic books, which some of that definitely doesn't make any sense as to why we had two different instructions on how to make a rocket, and neither one of them were needed because we found a fully assembled rocket. There was no way we could have built another rocket. So definitely there were puzzles left on the cutting room floor, and definitely too many items. And I suppose I could go on and on about the little problems, but yeah, I wanted to play something that felt a lot more like Fate of Atlantis, and compare it to Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb, which is just a 3D platformer where Indiana Jones jumps around and swings on a whip and then shoots a bunch of people with guns, and it is much closer to a Tomb Raider clone. This is closer to the point-and-click adventure game of Fate of Atlantis. It's not that close, but it's somewhat close. It's a shame that we are only now potentially seeing a sequel, like 25 years later. I question really if Return of the Amazon Queen would actually get made and get released, but if it does, you basically are going to have to establish a whole new genre to a whole new audience. And yeah, if you keep the budget low, you could probably make a lot of point-and-click adventure games that would be Indiana Jones parodies, if you wanted to. I don't know if the audience is there, and certainly I don't know if point-and-click adventure games that feel like old point-and-click adventure games are going to really sell. There is a rabid fan base of these games, but they aren't. It isn't a very big fan base. Anyways, that's going to be it for this series. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to support me further, there's some links down below in the description box. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.